Welcome to Health Club with Julia. I'm your host, health coach, and registered dietitian, Julia Campagna. I'm on a mission to bridge the gap between looking your best and living your life to the fullest. After years of over-dieting, struggling with disordered eating, and destroying my social life, I finally found how to reach my dream physique without sacrificing the things I love. Now I'm sharing all my strategies and education with you. We'll be talking all things health, including hormones, metabolism, and lifestyle to help you cut out the confusion and start living. So get cozy and join the club. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Health Club with Julia podcast. I am so happy you are here. This is going to be a chatty episode. I'm so excited. Number one, the life update. Last week was my birthday. I am 28. I feel like as I age, every year just gets faster and faster, and I can't stop it. It's just like happening. And there's just, I don't know, man. I can't believe I'm 28. And I was kind of reflecting on this, and I kind of want to tie this into this week's episode, because there's a lot of things that I learned now being 28. Still so much more that I need to learn, but there's a lot that I've learned about 28, and I'm going to keep it, pertaining to this week's episode. But man, there's a lot to life than being super fit and skinny. And I know that takes up a lot of energy for a lot of people. And while I do think that health is a huge priority that every single person on this planet should prioritize, health is literally your vessel for life. If you're not healthy, you run into diseases or worse, or just complications, and every single person needs to prioritize their health and have healthy habits and manage a healthy weight, and I do believe that. But man, there's a lot of people on this world, on this planet, that struggle with it consuming their life. And just being reflective in my last few years and what I went through and struggles that I faced, it's just not worth that. There's a lot more to life than just being super skinny and wanting to look like your favorite influencer or comparing yourself to every other person. Do you recognize how happy you could be if you let those things go? I actually don't think a lot of people recognize that, because they continue to do the things that are suffocating them and are making them feel this way, and causing a lot of turmoil and self-destruction, really. A lot of people do that, and I don't blame them. I was in that place as well, and I'll talk about that more in this episode. But looking back at it now, that's why I do what I do. I want to advocate for anyone, male or female, who struggle with this. I mean, I really exclusively work with females, but for any male who might be listening to this or just knows what I'm about, I want to advocate for that, because it is so hard being in that place and not seeing the way out. And the amount of people that I know struggle with that is unreal. It's crazy. It's heartbreaking, honestly, that many people deal with that. But that's why I'm here, to advocate for what it can be like if you just let those things go and you focus on the other more important things in life. And so that's a synopsis of my reflection of my 28 years, or just really over the past few years. But yeah, wow, can't believe that I'm 28. Back to that. I don't know. I also get told that I look like I'm 17 pretty much all the time. If I go out anywhere, if I go to the liquor store and I'm just like getting a bottle of wine for freaking dinner or whatever, people are like, oh, let me see your ID. And I get it. Like, obviously I'll show you my ID, but this happened to me, when did this happen? This happened to me a couple months ago. Literally just a couple months ago. So I was still 27, but I'm 27 years old. And I was getting something from the liquor store. I want to say it was a bottle of wine. And the woman ringing me up was like, can I see your ID? And she looked at my birthday and she was like, whoa. And I was like, I know. She didn't even say anything else. I was like, I know. I get told I'm 17 all the time. And she's like, yeah, I would have never guessed that you were in your 20s at all. I was like, yeah, I know. And that's a great thing, you know. In the long run, it'll be great. Hopefully, you know, the aging process is nice to me. But yeah, I'm also kind of ready to go out someplace and not have people look at me like I'm a teenager. Like I'm getting up there to 30, and you know, I kind of do want to portray that somewhat, you know, like I'm my age. But anyway, I'm just kind of talking, and so let's get into this episode. I want to talk about something that is very hard for a lot of people, and that is how to overcome your fear of your body changing. And I feel like one reason why people struggle to reach their goals for so long is because they fear letting go of being in a deficit. They fear gaining weight. They fear not being the skinniest version of themselves. And so they get stuck in this place. So maybe they stay in their deficit, right? And even if they don't realize it, because it's also crazy the amount of females that come to me and they're like, I want help with XYZ. I'm like, great, that's awesome, we get started. And then I look at their nutrition audit and I'm like, okay, girl, you are severely under eating. Like, you are not eating enough for your body. And they're like, oh, I didn't even realize that. And I'm like, yeah. So half the time they don't even realize that, but you know, so maybe they stay in their deficit, maybe without even realizing it, maybe they do, but they stay for so long. Then they then they reach these complications, you know, it leads to other problems, maybe hormonal imbalances, cortisol problems, adrenal problems, thyroid problems, which leads to a whole nother slew of problems, and it just like, the cycle keeps going. And it's really hard for people to say, F it, fuck it, you know, I'm gonna try to not be the thinnest ever. It's really hard for them to say that. Even if they know it's for their own good, even if they know that what they're doing isn't the healthiest and it's actually detrimental to not only their body, but also their health, their mindsets, they know it's for their own good to get out of that deficit and stop saying, oh, I want to be the skinniest version. I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. That's what so many people are focused on, is just losing weight. And I get some people, you know, might need to help managing their weight. That's awesome. And even if you have that goal, that's great. But there comes a certain point where it gets too much and people don't know when to let go of that. They don't know when to say, all right, I need to take a break from this, or I just want to be happy and not struggle with trying to be my smallest version. And a lot of people deal with that. And I get it. As somebody who dealt with that for a while, I 100% understand. So for reference, I don't know if anybody here is new or you haven't heard any of my previous podcast episodes or what have you, but I'm gonna just giving a glimpse into my past again. You know, like I said, I get it. I resonate with those people that fear their body changing and fear not being in a deficit and fear not being their skinniest. And I was in that place. You know, I was at a low. I wanted to be my skinniest. I was like, skinny makes me feel good. People will think I'm super healthy and I look like I'm really fit, and people will think that I'm better and like my worth is in my body size. And I went through all of that until I ran into my own complications. I had severe hormonal imbalances. I didn't have a period for months and months. I got diagnosed with HA, or hypothalamic amenorrhea. And for those who don't know, that is basically when, in simple terms, when your brain isn't connecting with your hormones to send out a single signal to have your period. And so that can cause infertility. And so, you know, I ran into this place where my doctors told me if I didn't change, I wouldn't be able to have kids in the future. And coming from somebody who wants like at least 3 kids, I was like, hell no, you know? So I've been in that place. I reached a lot of complications, a lot more than just that, but I'll keep it brief. And I did end up gaining 30 pounds from my lowest. 30 pounds. Was it easy? Fuck no. I was so scared. I did not want that to happen at all. And I get that it's hard. And I get that so many people fear that. Fear their body changing, maybe because of, I don't know, their self-worth. And people thinking that if they gain weight, they won't be worthy enough, or they won't be fit enough, or people will look at them differently, or whatever the reason is. A lot of people fear that. And I get it. I gained 30 pounds because I had to, because I had no other choice than to gain that 30 pounds. I had no choice. If I wanted to improve my life, if I wanted to have kids in the future, if I wanted to even reach my dream physique, which at the time I didn't realize that reaching my dream physique was actually putting on 30 pounds. To change all these things, I had to gain the weight. I did not have a choice. And so I was sent to people for help. I went to a nutritionist. I got help in different areas, and I gained that 30 pounds. And it was scary as hell in the beginning. And I remember one of my first questions to my nutritionist, who I saw at the time, because she made me eat a lot more. Right off the bat, she was like, you need to eat this much. I was like, fuck, I can't do that. Are you crazy? One of my very first questions to her, I remember this vividly. I was sitting on the floor with her. And I said to her, am I going to gain weight by eating this much? She played it off. She didn't want me to freak out, but she was also realistic with me. And she reminded me that I needed to. And I think at the place that I was at, I also recognized that I needed to. It was after that appointment with my doctor with the whole fertility thing that I knew I was in deep shit. And so at that point, when I was, going on this weight gain journey, I kind of knew that I needed it. And so that helped me a little bit, but it was still scary as hell. But I did it. And you want to know something? That moment in my life, I was happier than any single moment being at my lowest weight. I went out with friends more. I was happy again. I am the happiest motherfucker there is. I truly don't get angry often. Sure, I'm human and things annoy me and frustrate me and I get angry and upset at things, for sure. But overall, I'm a happy person. And when I was at my lowest, I was a bitch and a half. It was bad. I gained my happiness back. I met my boyfriend, who, again, I think I mentioned this in a past podcast episode, but when I was at my lowest, I was in college, and I refused to let myself go out, do normal college things. I refused to let myself go out, and the house that I lived in, which was with 10 other girls, they threw parties at our house, and I would not let myself go downstairs and join that party. But my boyfriend would come to my house all the time, and I wouldn't know it because I wouldn't allow myself to go down there. And it wasn't until, I got better, I recovered, I gained this weight back, I was going out more, enjoying myself more, and just living life more, that we met. We started dating. It's now 7 years later. And we still look back at it now, and it's like, damn, I could have met you so much earlier if I just went downstairs and enjoyed myself. Just little things like that you don't even think about change so much if you just let go of this fear about your body changing. And sometimes it's for the best. I reached my dream physique 30 pounds heavier. My dream body goal was 30 pounds heavier. And again, didn't realize it until it happened. I was like, damn, this is what I've been wanting this whole time? I went through all that just to get back to this place. Could have saved so much more time. But you'll learn things along the way. And so, enough about my story, but basically, if you want to reach a dream physique, or if you just want to be super healthy in general, you have to spend time out of a deficit and spend time trying not to be skinny all the time. It's just the fact of the matter. And I talk about this a lot more in a previous episode, so go back to episode 25, the one with guest Allison Lloyd. We talk about that a lot. So go back to listen to that one. It'll talk a little bit more about what I mean by you have to spend time out of a deficit, but you need to do those things in order to reach your dream physique goal, in order to feel super healthy and enjoy life as well. But I know that it's hard. I know that there's a big fear around your body changing. I've been there, I've done that, I understand it fully. And so I want to go over ways that you can overcome that fear and how I did it for myself. Because some people want to get over that fear and they want to change and be healthier and be happier, but the body weight is stopping them from doing that. Even if they want that so bad, they can't let themselves do that because of this fear about the scale going up and their body changing. So I want to talk about how we can overcome that fear, how I did it, what helped me, and how you can get to a better place both health-wise, being overall healthy for your body and its functions, reaching your dream physique-wise, and also enjoying life, because life sucks when you are constantly in a deficit and you're always trying to be skinny. There's no way around that. Life sucks. And so why would you want your life to suck this whole time? Why not reach your dream physique, be super healthy, and also enjoy life? That's the goal, after all, right? To look good, to feel good, and to be happy. So let's go over how we can do that. So I'm going to go over some things that, like I said, helped me. The number one thing that helped me, and I heard this years ago, but it's still stuck with me. Number one thing, know that you are more than just a body. You might have heard that phrase before, but that is something that stuck with me way back when, and up until now. It still sticks with me. You are more than just a body. You are a soul. You are a human being. You have desires, you have wants. You want to enjoy life. You want to experience happiness and joy and socializing and all the things that life is worthwhile living. And recognizing that all those things that I mentioned, the socializing, the happiness, the living, almost has nothing to do with your body. Minus the fact that your body is the vessel that actually gets you there to go out and socialize and gives you the ability to go and do those things. But other than that, your body doesn't matter. You can be any weight and you can still go have fun and enjoy life. And so knowing that you are more than just a body, that is the number one thing that stuck with me and helped me through it. And on top of that, something else that I had thought beyond just, I'm not just a body, is how do you want to be remembered? And I know you've probably heard that before because that is a very common thing to ask. That's been thrown out there before. How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered for being skinny or for being a great person and being happy and being present? What would you rather be remembered for? Ask yourself that question. Seriously, whoever's listening to this, I want you to literally ask yourself that question and think through that. Would you rather be remembered for being skinny? Or would you rather be remembered for being a great person, being happy, and being present? Ask yourself that question. Because I can guarantee 99.99% of you will say without hesitation, I want to be remembered for the person that I am and being present. I can almost 100% guarantee that. And so when you think about it that way, what does your weight matter? What does your body matter? If it changes, that's fine. As long as you're still the person that you are and want to be remembered for, that is what matters. So that's number one. Something that greatly helped me, and I still pass that along to people who need it. Number two, know that your body changing is for a purpose, and it can totally be temporary. So coming from, again, going back to my own example, the purpose behind me gaining the weight was for a lot of reasons, actually, to get my life back, to be happy again. But a big portion of that was for my fertility and for my overall health as a human being. I had purpose for my body changing. And I'm sure you do as well. Again, think about that. Take some time and actually think about that. What is the reason for you needing to change? Is it because you're miserable and you just want to go out with friends and have fun? Is it because you're running into hormonal issues that need help for you to function properly? Is it because you're tired of sitting in your room not doing anything because you're not allowing yourself to go out? Is it because you want to have a fucking cocktail and a burger without guilt? What is the purpose behind you potentially gaining weight or changing your body? It doesn't even have to mean that it's gaining weight, but you know what I mean. Find the purpose for yourself. With a purpose, there's a drive. With a purpose, there's a vision. With a purpose, it directs you to where you need to go. So figure out what that purpose is for you, and everything else will come a lot clearer. You'll be able to realize what needs to be done and why it needs to be done. And again, this can all be temporary. For me, I gained that 30 pounds. I got my life back. I improved my hormones, blah, 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 XYZ. And then, 2 years later, I was like, I want to try a deficit. I want to try going to a cut. And at that point, I was so much better. I recovered. I was doing really well that I didn't have to go to extremes to lose weight again. Didn't lose an extreme amount of weight, but I was able to lose that weight and still enjoy my life, still have a fully functioning, healthy body, still go out with friends and drink and have whatever the fuck I wanted whenever I wanted it. Because I did that work and knew what my purpose was first, and knew that that was also temporary. And I didn't have to just gain weight just because and be miserable with that. I had to gain weight for a purpose, yes. But I knew that it was temporary and I could always, lose weight again in the future if I was at a stable point to do so, which I was. But even with that weight loss, I still fluctuate around that 30 pound gain. But my body's completely different because I was able to do that and because I gained that weight in order for me to reach my dream physique. Still to this day, if anybody knows, follows my Instagram and stuff, sees my physique, I post my physique just at the gym, whatever. The physique that I have right now is still 28 pounds heavier than my lowest. 28 pounds, so almost 30 pounds still. And I look completely different than I did then. And I look completely better than I did then, and I feel better, and my life is magical right now. And I'm still 28 pounds heavier than I was in my lowest. So, number 2, figure out what your purpose is. Figure out why your body needs to change or why you feel like it should. And know that it can also be temporary. But sometimes it's really for the best, and you just have to do what you gotta do in that moment for that purpose. Number 3, having a solid support system. It is a lot harder to go through this if you have nobody there to help you. I had so many people there to help me. I had my parents, my siblings, my nutritionist, my friends at school. I had so many people there helping me. And I leaned on them all the time. Like I said, it wasn't easy. There were times where I was nervous and scared and didn't want to gain weight and didn't want to eat as much, and it was a process. But I knew I had the support system to help back me up. And so make sure that you have people there to help you through this. Make sure they understand where you're coming from as well, because people who aren't going through this, they don't always understand how it feels. But with a solid support system, they should be there to listen to you and understand what you're going through and lift you up when you need it. So number 3, have a solid support system. And number 4 is knowing that gaining weight isn't all bad. You gain so much with it too. And what I mean by that is, if you're gaining weight, you might gain food freedom. You might be able to eat a cookie every night and be okay. You might gain more confidence. I know I sure as hell did. I was the least confident being my skinniest and smallest. The least confident. It wasn't until I gained that weight that I actually became confident, and I'm not just saying that. I am so much more confident now than I was back then. I'm actually a completely different person now than I was back then. So maybe you gain confidence. Maybe you gain strength. Maybe you gain health. Maybe you actually work on your health and you're actually a healthy person with that extra weight gain. Maybe you just simply gain your life back. You simply can be spontaneous and say yes to going on a weekend trip when you haven't planned it, because you're not worried about being your skinniest or smallest. Maybe you're able to meet a guy that you wouldn't have been able to do if you didn't let yourself go out because you were trying to be your skinniest or smallest. Your life might change completely for the better just by letting your body change and gaining some weight. And so number 4 is a really big one as well. Know that it's not all bad. Know that sometimes it's not at all a bad thing. There's no bad part to it. Sure, maybe you feel a little bit more uncomfortable for a little bit until you adjust to that new body and the changes that it's gone through. But again, with almost 100% certainty, I know that letting your body change the way it needs to, you're going to gain other things with it. And so that's number 4. So number 1, recapping it all. Number 1, know that you are more than just a body and think about how you want to be remembered. Number 2, know that it is for a purpose and find that purpose to help drive why you need your body to change and how you can overcome that fear. Number 3, have a solid support system. It's not always easy. Having your body change is not always easy, but having people there to support you and lift you up when you need it is crucial. And number 4, know that your body changing isn't all bad. You might gain a lot with it. So this episode was just more of a chatty one that I felt compelled to talk about, one that I really, really deeply resonate with. I know so many people, female and male, struggle with their body changing. I know that it is a hard thing to endure sometimes, and sometimes you think it's the worst thing that could ever happen to you. And you hold on so tightly to wanting to stay skinny, to stay small, to not be out of a deficit, that you're compromising other areas of your life and your health because of it. I know it can be challenging. I know that it can be scary. But I am telling you right now with confidence that just because your body changes does not mean it's a bad thing. And you have to recognize that. So I'm going to end it there. I hope that this resonated with at least one person, and if it did, please, I would love to hear how this impacted you, how this resonated with you. Please. I love listening to what you guys have to say. And this one pulls at my heartstrings a bit, so I hope that this helped at least one person. And if you are going through this process, feel free to reach out to me as well. I went through this. I know how it feels. I'm here to support you. I'm here to be added to your support system. So use me if you need it. I would be more than happy to talk to any one of you about what you're struggling with and how to overcome that. But that is it. I will leave you there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully it resonated with at least one person. And if you need me, you know where to find me. That is it for this episode, and I will see you guys at the next one.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Health Club with Julia podcast. If you loved the episode, share the podcast and tag me, and subscribe so you don't miss any further episodes. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a DM. Thanks for being a part of the club. See you next time.